Warhammer 40,000 RogueTrader has been a delightful treat for me. I have yearned for stories and experiences that don't primarily focus on the poster children that usually get pushed in most of the settings video games. So when it was announced that Warhammer would get its very first CRPG, I was ecstatic that Alcat was handling it. I was also thrilled to being sponsored, to give a first impression of the game by them. So thanks fellas. If you want to try this game out for yourself, it is available on Steam, PlayStation Store, or the Xbox Store. It also works pretty well on the Steam Deck, if you're curious. To establish some bias, I have enjoyed Alcat's previous games, and I was confident in their ability to really dive into the lore of Warhammer 40,000 and do it right. I was doubly sure because I worked with Alcat when I used to work at Paizo, who made the Pathfinder tabletop RPGs. So, knowing how often Alcat checked in with the creative team over at Paizo to get the world right leaves me confident their coordination with Games Workshop would give an accurate representation of how the world of Warhammer 40,000 is portrayed as the RogueTrader, the role you take in the game itself. This fits perfectly due to their role as explorers and merchants in the setting, meaning you, as the player character, can experience the grim, dark world of 40,000 from a high position of power, with a more grounded perspective compared to most 40K games. It also helps that you get to create your very own RogueTrader to gain different perspectives than the Imperium. Sadly, you don't have all the options from the RogueTrader tabletop game regarding ancestries, origins, or classes when you get to make your character, but you still have a lot of options here. RogueTrader handles it a bit differently than other CRPGs. After picking your origin, which helps establish the base of your character, your background before becoming a RogueTrader, which I picked Sanctioned Psycho for my playthrough, and recreated Lorne from our old Warhammer's tabletop RPG show. If you don't want the horrors of the warp constantly knocking at your skull, like Lorne, you also have the Commissar, Ministorum Priest, Crime Lord, Navy Officer, Noble, and Astra Militarum Commander. You can then choose an archetype, which really helps define your character's role into more like a warrior or a wizard or things like that. Say for example, you want your Psyker to be more of a heavily armored bolter-wielding killing machine, or you want your pure glass cannon caster, or you want your Psyker to be more of a swashbuckler in melee. Thankfully, you have options, like the warrior archetype, allowing you to take and deal damage in melee, also be a little bit of a tank with some taunting abilities. Officers, who use their charisma to aid their allies, and even give them extra turns. Operatives, finding weaknesses in your enemies and taking them out from afar. And then soldiers, basically your gunmen of the group, capable of gunning down multiple units at once. Further on in your character's journey, you'll gain access to more advanced archetypes. I would talk in authority to these, but this is a CRPG, and it takes a while to get through, and I've only had so much time to get this video together, so I encourage you to investigate yourself if you buy the game. This is also where I would talk about the story in detail, but I don't want to. I really don't want to spoil you either because of just how good it's been so far. I'm not through all of it yet, but there has been multiple times where I had to sit there and debate just various choices I've had. Like the beginning prologue is so good, especially once you get to the servitors part. You'll understand, like it really hits the grim, dark future. It gives you that weird feeling of like, well, morally it would be this way, but would it be better if I did this way? You know, like how can I help deal with this situation in a moral mind, or will I go completely full hardcore grimdark and be like, oh, absolutely not. These are just things and Like, it's interesting to me. I'm glad that I get to like debate these decisions with myself instead of just go like, oh, well, obviously it's this one, you know, for a lot of other stories out there, which has been a breath of fresh air compared to the we have destroyed X thing, battle brother. We must get the X item, battle brother. The Xenos have now come to attack us, battle brother. The Chaos have showed up, battle brother stories that we're all so used to in the other games. So similar to other CRPGs, you'll also be able to use your character's skills to help gain an advantage during various social encounters. This also applies to special bonuses to your character depending on your choices and conversations, enhancing your roleplay while also giving those looking for that tactical advantage more of a reason to go through the story. And the thing that helps enhance the story is your companions you meet along the way. They really help flesh out the world with their own perspectives too, so I do recommend taking a varied group with you. So if you've been waiting for a good Warhammer 40,000 story in a video game, I think you're going to enjoy yourself here. But for those who love their tactical gameplay, however, you'll enjoy what they've done here. Unlike Alcat's previous titles where you could fight in real time or turn-based, it's now exclusively turn-based and on a grid. Don't worry, in the options, you could speed up the animation so you're not waiting for the animations to take too long, so this can go a lot faster. Inside combat itself, you're going to worry about various things. You have momentum, which as your characters do certain actions and do things, you can do even more grander, more fantastical abilities to try to push yourself through combat. But of course, if you're like me and have dirty psychers inside of your party, you're going to increase this bar. You're going to need someone to really help bring down this bar, or else you're going to summon nothing but demons. And knowing me, who likes to cast as much magic stuff as possible, or in this case, warp stuff as possible, I summon a lot of demons. So if you are basically going through this game expecting to blast your way through with a whole bunch of psychic powers, this balancing bar tells you, no, I'm just going to summon a bunch of demons in your way, which is basically going to wipe your party if you're not careful. So it's one thing that I definitely loved about Warhammer 40,000 and various other games like it that handled psychic powers this way, because I love being able to cast as much magic as possible, but having just that inkling, just that clause of casting around and finding out. It is also satisfying to get your bolter lady in pretty much carving through swaths of enemies with her AoE shots, which is also fun, by the way. I was really worried that in tabletop RPG fashion like this, I have to singularly just kind of shoot people over and over, just individually, like, oh no, it's gonna be a slog. But no, you can basically point at a whole group of people with a AoE shot and just carve through people. And especially when you find plasma guns, which pretty much makes the enemy look like a beaver, because they'll look at you and say, damn it. So those hoping for more tactically focused and balanced turn-based combat system, now that Alcat can now just focus balancing that instead of two different ways to play, this is going to be your jam. And just like Alcat's previous games, you'll also have a variety of difficulty options where you can tweak things to your liking. For those wanting just to experience the story and just to blaze through everything, you could easily change everything to where it's super easy for you. And for those who love it when the game master slingshots the dice at you every single time you miss, you can really feel the welts on your skin, you got difficulty options. And with options, you also got friends. You're now able to have a total of 6 players in your game now. That's right, there's now multiplayer, which finally, after so long, you can make your friends a mercenary via this NPC so they can have their own character, or you can have them control your story characters. So, you know, when you first get into the lobby and stuff, they have to like join the lobby first, and then you have to go like make their characters, and then you got to assign it to them and stuff like that. So just be aware of that. It's not like other games. And along with your friends, you get to see how great this game looks. Just basically encapsulating like the art style and just emphasizing the grim, dark nature of Warhammer 40,000, to even to the point where even in turn-based, when you shoot somebody, just seeing their bodies just get exploded from across the floor, it's wonderful being able to see how people live and go through things, some of the epic scales of Warhammer 40,000. It's just a fantastic sight to see, going through the deepening halls of the ship, which just makes you feel like, oh goodness, this isn't just like your rinky-dinky ship somewhere in our world. This thing is practically a flying city. It's like New York is just blasting through space here, and you have thousands upon thousands of people just relying on you, the RogueTrader, to keep them safe. So as you go in through the halls and also hearing the wonderful soundtrack that they put in, they've done a phenomenal job on getting a nice tone for Warhammer 40,000 in, without going for like some extreme like techno bumpy stuff or going super into the organ chants and stuff like that. They've done an amazing job of just giving you just like that ethereal mystery of Warhammer 40,000, but that epic quality undertone that's in it. Just listen to the main theme a little bit. But with everything that Warhammer 40,000 RogueTrader has presented to me so far, it's been great. For a Warhammer 40,000 game, and for the very first entry in the CRPGs, I say this is a pretty strong entry, and something I believe fans of the universe will enjoy. For full disclosure, the company did ask a review of the video before it got published. I was compensated for this first impression, and I did receive the game early. And I apologize for the lighter take on this game. Normally, I like to go more in depth and try to present a wider range of options the game has, but I really wanted people to find out about this stuff for themselves. And also, I only had so much time, and CRPGs do take a long while to get through. But I really wanted you to experience the story, experiencing the sound effects, the music, and all of the artistic glory that this game has. Because if you're wanting something that really represents Warhammer 40,000 due to Alcat's and Game Workshop's coordination with each other, I feel you're going to have a fantastic time. So thanks again to Alcat for sponsoring this first impression of the game. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to go try to finish this game on Twitch if you want to come watch along.